And your first question comes from the line of Brad Zelnick with Deutsche Bank. Your line is open.
Great. Thanks so much for taking the question and congrats on just remarkable booking strength. Larry, I'm hoping you can expand more on Stargate because this is just a massive scale, American first venture with Oracle joined by undisputed AI leaders like OpenAI and NVIDIA, and they chose you over several other choices in the market. What is Oracle's unique value add here? What can Oracle do that others can't? Thanks.
Well, I think it's actually very simple. The capability we have is to build these huge AI clusters with technology that actually runs faster and more economically than our competitors. So it really is a technology advantage we have over them. If you run faster and you pay by the hour, you cost less. So that technology advantage translates to an economic advantage, which allows us to win a lot of these huge deals. And it's not just the Stargate deal, which is in our future, by the way. We got to over 130 billion in RPO without any transactions from Stargate. So again, Stargate looks to be the biggest AI training project out there. And we expect that will allow us to grow our RPO even higher in the coming quarters. And we do expect our first large Stargate contract fairly soon.
Thanks for that, Larry. If I could maybe just sneak in a very quick one for Safra. When Stargate does hit, as it is a related party, is there anything that you can share with us as to how we should expect it might flow through the financials? Thanks again.
Well, it won't flow through us in any unique way. They will place contracts with us and they'll come right through. So I'll be explaining it to you once it's fully laid out, but it's not going to make your work harder. We're going to be very, very clear on as the contracts come through us. It won't be as much of a change as you think. It's just going to be even larger numbers.
Wow. Thank you again.
And your next question comes from the line of Derek Wood with TD Cowen. Your line is open.
Safra and Larry, congrats on a strong bookings quarter. I wanted to drill into the growth undercurrents around OCI, especially in light of such a huge RPO number that didn't even include Stargate. In some quarters, we hear about particular demand for AI contracts. Certainly seems to be a lot of favorable developments going on there. But other times we hear about emerging adoption in multi-cloud and database on hyperscalers. And we can hear about strength in dedicated as well with sovereign clouds and Alloy. I guess as you look at Q3 bookings and pipeline trends, can you give us a sense as to how demand is unfolding across those three different environments and how you feel about the growth durability and really the infrastructure capacity serviceability of each of these vectors?
Well, I mean, the reality is that everything is chugging on all fronts. So multi-cloud, I gave you some of the numbers. These numbers, I was just looking year over year because we only started really having revenue originally a year ago. It's more than 10 times what it was just a year ago. And the numbers are exploding. As I told you, we've got 18 live, but 40 coming online. So that is going unbelievably well. OCI, public cloud going spectacularly. Cloud at customer really going well. And all the pieces around that. And we're starting, there are whole parts that are only now rolling out, which are sovereign clouds, disconnected clouds. And so we've laid out quite a lot of capacity and it's starting to fill up. So bookings are going very, very well and it's turning into revenue. So pretty much we're going on all cylinders. For us, we're happy when customers come, directly to us with their database workloads, but we're also happy when they come to us through our partners, Azure, AWS, and GCP. So for us, we don't care. They get exactly the same capability and it's really ideal.
That's great.
Yeah,
Thank
I think
you.
now that by the way, now the customers can get our database everywhere. They can install an Oracle Cloud region on their premises. They can get Oracle from Azure. They can get Oracle from Google. They can get Oracle from AWS. They obviously can get Oracle from OCI. And that Oracle database is becoming more and more capable. It does store most of the world's valuable data. It is by far the largest database installed base in the world with nothing remotely close. And most of those databases are still on-premise, but now they're beginning to migrate to the cloud. And one of the big drivers of them migrating to the cloud is the autonomous version of the database. And now, perhaps just as importantly, the AI data platform, which allows you to take all of your existing data, and make it available to any of the leading AI models, as I say, Grok, ChatGPT, Llama, all of them can immediately take advantage of your existing data in your existing database and turn it into insights and actions and agents directly, again, on your private data while keeping that private data private. And that has been the missing link in companies and government agencies taking fully trained on all of the public data that's available on the internet. Now, that's a huge amount of information and makes for brilliant AI, but the AI does not have a lot of information about your company or your government agency, because that data is not available on the internet. That is not data that the AI model was trained on. Now, with the Oracle database, 23AI, the AI model can look at your data, train itself on that data, and provide you with, again, insights, actions on your existing data while keeping it private. You don't have to share it with anybody.
Fantastic. Thank you.
And your next question comes from the line of Alex Zukin with Wolfe Research. Your line is open.
Hey, thank you, guys. And echoing the congratulations for truly unbelievable bookings number. I guess maybe, Larry, could you opine on the current kind of state of the AI training versus inferencing opportunity? You have potentially investors worried about diminishing returns to training, even some of your hyperscaler peers seemingly walking back on some of their CapEx commitments. What are you seeing out there with respect to training versus inference, both in the incremental bookings that you're adding in the pipeline, and maybe just how Oracle is differentiated on the inferencing side versus both hyperscalers and neoclouds, particularly with this AI data platform product that you just announced?
Okay, well, obviously our training business is getting bigger and bigger and bigger very rapidly, as evidenced by our RPO. But it wasn't just AI training that drove the RPO up. The AI inferencing, the potential of AI inferencing, and think about all of the Oracle databases out there, that data in those databases are going to train AI models. The AI models are only useful if they're familiar with the data, your data. The AI models have to understand your products, your customers, your service requests, your financials. So you have to make all that data available to the AI models in those databases. We're right at the beginning of that. And again, on top of those Oracle databases now, we ourselves, because we're in the application build business, have built lots and lots of agents on top of the Oracle, on the Oracle databases, and made those agents a part of our applications, modernizing and automating our applications. but customers need to do the exact same thing as they build software inside of their government agency, or they build software inside, again, AI agents inside of their company. And how do they go about doing that? Well, they go about doing that is training the AI models on their data that is currently in an Oracle database. And we make that very easy. You push a button. The new version of the Oracle database, 23 AI, with vector capabilities, allow you to convert your data into vector format that's understood by the AI models. Nobody else has that. So you can easily now train the AI models on your data for inferencing, obviously, and for building of agents. You can do that automatically with the Oracle database. We are the only one with that capability. So we think inferencing in the end is a much bigger opportunity than AI training. And there are literally millions of Oracle databases all over the world and that data, all of those millions of databases, all of that data will be used to train AI models. And on top of that, they'll build agents and applications. We think, again, we don't have these 1 or 2 or 10 huge contracts for training because there aren't that many people building frontier models. But there are hundreds of thousands of our customers that will be consuming those AI models and training those same AI models on their private data, and then running agents and applications on top of all of that. That's a much bigger market than AI training for us.
Super helpful. And maybe just, Safra, how to think about RPO trends and trending over the course of the next few quarters in light of that?
I think there are going to be lumpiness, as you can see, but we actually expect some extremely significant numbers coming, within the next few months also. So there's just a lot of demand, folks. There's a lot of demand where people want to lock in and schedule in to our cloud. So we're going to see increases in RPO. But remember, our remaining performance obligation, we also burn down some of it through the quarter as capacity goes online. But I expect that number to be extremely large. This is enormous, but I expect it actually to continue to be very large. Amazingly.
Thank you so much.
And your next question comes from the line of John DiFucci with Guggenheim. Your line is open.
Thank you. You said you were live on 33 cloud regions and another 40 planned with Azure,
no,
AWS. 18. Okay, I'm
18
sorry.
18 multi-clouds.
See, I got it.
Yes.
I got you. I got you way ahead of yourself. I'm sorry about that, Safra. But anyway, I know you said you had another 40 planned with Azure, AWS, and Google.
Yes.
Look, this quarter we saw a big uptick, in discussions between partners in large enterprises regarding Oracle database at pick your hyperscaler. Like the discussions seem to be happening in mass, but not the deals yet. And one of the things, a limiting factor in talking to partners, was that some of these global enterprises needed it to be global because they're global enterprises. And those 40, I guess, does that get you there for that? And when do those 40 get deployed? Are they going to be deployed over the next year, or is it going to be over the next, I don't know, about how long does that take?
Well, of course, we're not in full control of that, but everyone's motivated to get them as quickly as possible because, as you know, the way the revenue flows through, it flows through to our partner or our host, and then they pay us. So they're very, very motivated to get it as quickly as possible because that is holding up revenue for them until they can deploy it. So it's been moving very quickly. They've accelerated recently. And as you can imagine, there's some significant competition between those three hyperscalers to grab those workloads before their competitor takes them. So it is moving quickly, but there is enormous demand. Again, enormous demand, but that capacity is not always within our control. So, but they're very, very motivated to get it going, because when those customers move, they often bring a lot of additional workload connected to the database, into their cloud, but often directly into OCI also. And of course, we are the fourth competitor for them at the same time. So I don't have the exact dates of someone in my organization, no doubt it does, but we do expect it in short order to be a lot more deployed very quickly, and demand is extremely high.
Can I help? I think I can help on this. So everyone needs a primary and a backup data center in North America. Everyone needs a primary and a backup data center in Europe, typically Western Europe. And everyone needs a primary and not everyone, and a lot of people need primary and backups in Asia. So that's 6 data centers. So once we get to a primary and a backup in North America, in Europe, and in Asia for, let's just say, Google, we're ready to roll. Most of the impediments are out of the way. So, then it's just a matter of building the people that are Japanese national companies. That's for the multinationals. For the multinationals, that works. And then there's obviously the Japanese domestic market and the German domestic market, and so on and so forth. But I think by the time we get to 40, which is around close enough to say 12 months from now, as Safra said, it's not entirely in our control, because AWS has to provide us with the space because we're literally embedding the OCI data centers inside of AWS, inside of Google, and inside of Azure. But we expect this is growing extraordinarily fast, and we think we'll be able to meet most of the needs of customers that need for primary and backup around the world, certainly in the coming months, and then it's just going to be adding capacity country by country.
And your next question comes from the line of Kirk Materne with Evercore ISI. Your line is open.
Thanks very much for taking the question, and I'll add my congrats on the RPO and booking strength this quarter. Larry, you mentioned some of the agents you've been building out on top of your application platform earlier. I was just wondering, are you now starting to see the demand for those technologies or those functionality that agents are bringing starting to have an impact on your strategic SaaS business, and perhaps the pace of conversions from any legacy on-prem systems that still might be out there? Thanks.
Okay, so I would say, our biggest differentiators. So when we're competing in the healthcare field, our biggest differentiator is the quality of our AI agents. That we have a lot of AI agents in healthcare. One, we listen. When a doctor consults with a patient, we listen to that consultation, and we record all the prescriptions, all the doctor's orders, all the doctor's notes. We automatically provide the doctor prior meeting with the patient a summary of the patient's their latest lab tests and vitals. When the doctor is finished meeting with the patient and has given all his orders, prescriptions, and come to diagnostic conclusions, we automatically update the electronic health records, taking a huge burden off the physician. They don't have to type any of this stuff in. We just listen. The interface to our system is voice, primarily voice, which is all AI, and but the whole system is made up of AI agents. Let me give you another AI agent that we're in the process of building. The doctors the hospitals have to get permission to prescribe an expensive cancer drug or to do a heart transplant or something like that, or a knee transplant. They have to get prior authorization from the payer, the insurance company in the United States, or the government like the NHS in the UK. And there's this negotiation. You send your patient's electronic health records to the insurer. The insurer looks at that, analyzes that, and says, yes, this person is authorized to use Herceptin or a cancer drug or not. But that's all done manually on the phone. But our AI agents, we read the insurance policies. We read all the electronic health records. We actually make the determination whether this is a reimbursable drug or this is a reimbursable surgery. We do that and we automate that entirely, make it completely electronic. This saves billions of dollars in the healthcare field and makes a huge difference and determines whether they're going to buy our system or buy some alternative system. So I know people are saying, what's the dollar impact when you're selling the agents? Well, the dollar impact is we sell an entire health system based on whether our agents and our health software is better than our competitors and saves them money. So it is. It's not just it's not really attributable to AI agents in healthcare. It's the fact we're selling more and more healthcare systems because that we have a lot of AI agents embedded in them, which which produces better outcomes for patients and saves governments and payers money.
And the same applies to our Fusion applications, which have dozens of embedded agents, whether it's in supply chain, financials, HCM. We have literally dozens of agents already embedded in our applications. Unlike our competitors who are talking about it, we actually have them already built and deployed at customers.
If I can let me make one more statement. It's going to be, since our applications are going to be primarily AI agents, again, I'm going to say it again, the applications themselves will migrate to be basically a bunch of connected AI agents. It really, you're not going to be able to separate how much of this, how much did you make on the AI agents and how much did you make on the rest of the applications. All of our applications are becoming AI agents.
And Safra, if I could ask a really quick follow-up. Is this the tipping point for any customer that hasn't moved to the cloud to have to get there now to get this functionality? Talking to some partners, it feels like anybody that's been holding out is now ready to go because they can't get any of this functionality if they're still on-prem. Thanks.
Yes, I mean, this is the motivator. The ability to have your system do so much of your work. As I was signing off with my finance and audit committee and talking with my chief accounting officer, they have the entire description of the balance sheet issue, all the different balance sheet parts, all done because of our products. That is such a time saver and so much incredible productivity and insight that you're at a disadvantage if you do not use this. And that's why I know every quarter I mention again, we're announcing, of course, it's Monday. I couldn't announce Sunday or Saturday or, of course, Friday, something you do only if you have bad news. So, I had to announce the 10th. And imagine so much of the work that my teams do is enabled because of these advanced technologies. And it's your way to get there. Ultimately, everyone's going to come to it, and it should be motivating them because it is such a massive, not only productivity improvement, and as a result, lower cost, but it also gives you incredible insight into your business. It's really amazing.
And your final question comes from the line of Mark Mordler with Bernstein Research. Your line is open.
Thank you very much for taking my question, and really congratulations on how incredibly well this is being executed. We know Oracle spends less on CapEx per dollar of IaaS PaaS revenue than your larger hyperscale cloud provider peers. But how should we understand why CapEx is lower, and how should we think about the trajectory of CapEx given the strength of RPO and especially the strength of OCI and OCI AI? Thank you.
Okay, well, I'll take a crack at that. So we can start our data centers smaller than our competitors, and then we grow based on demand. So building these data centers are expensive, and they're really expensive if they're not full or they're not at least half full. So we tend to start small and then add capacity as demand arises. And that allows us to have higher utilization. That's one thing. The other thing is we have a high degree of standardization and automation inside of our cloud. So the operating the cloud also gives us better margins. Now that you will not see that on CapEx. That will be on operating profit. But it's really the combination of starting smaller that affects and growing with demand that affects CapEx, and then overall margins. The fact that we have a high degree of automation, which lowers our labor costs dramatically. By the way, more important than lowering our labor costs, with no labor, there's no human error, there's no human mischief. So we're much more reliable and much more secure because we don't have a lot of human beings in our data centers.
Makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
Thank you, Safra. Thank you, Larry. Thank you, Mark. A telephonic replay of this conference call will be available for 24 hours on our investor relations website. Thank you for joining us today. And with that, I'll now turn the call back to Abby for closing.
And ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's call, and we thank you for your participation. You may now disconnect.